George Zimmerman accused Trayvon Martin of attempted murder. And George didn't say Trayvon was a garden variety type killer. George said Trayvon was the rarest of all killers, a psychopathic killer. It's no ordinary murderer that George describes. He said Trayvon used his bare hands to punch him more than 12 times. Then smother him, then bash his head on the ground, then try to take his gun and shoot him. George said Trayvon did all this for no reason. Police asked George variations of one question. Why did the victim try to kill you, George? What made him so mad? George said he did nothing, said little, and doesn't know why the boy wanted him dead. And but for him defending himself by shooting the boy to death, Trayvon would have succeeded in killing him. The judge, then a jury, will test if George's description of Trayvon's actions is plausible, and if the actions are supported by physical evidence. It's the what of George's self-defense claim. A psychopathic murderer has no regard for the rights, feelings, and the safety of others. They are also rare. Is it plausible that Trayvon is such a person? Did Trayvon on his way home from the store try to murder a man? A psychopathic murderer would have brushes with the law, but Trayvon wasn't known to police. The defense demanded Trayvon's school records, but I'm sure they found no cruelty to animals, no sexual assault of little girls, and no other violent outbursts in Trayvon's past. Judge and jury will then turn attention to the environment and circumstances that night. Nothing in Trayvon's history indicates he would attempt murder just after nightfall, 20 feet or so away from occupied homes. How was he going to get away afterward? Was he going to go home covered in his victim's blood, to watch the game, drink iced tea, and share Skittles with his brother, while his victim's body lay outside? The final test will be the physical evidence, or the who of George's self-defense claim. If Trayvon beat George with his hands, we expect George's DNA to be on those hands. If Trayvon smothered George while George screamed, we expect saliva to be on Trayvon's hands. We expect him to have injuries. However, the only DNA on Trayvon's hands is his own. The only injury is tiny and is on his non-dominant hand. After this final test, George's injuries and their extent will be moot. Was Trayvon trespassing? No. Was Trayvon breaking the law? No. Did Trayvon have a weapon? No. George cannot prove what he was defending himself from. And he can't prove who he was defending himself from. If he can't prove those two things, then he can't prove he was reasonably defending himself at all. Everything I've said above makes mockery of the question, was it reasonable for George to fear for his life? The question is, fear for his life from who and from what? Because he's charged with Trayvon's murder, the judge and jury will subject George to a similar test. Trayvon passed the test. Do you think George can? Stay tuned, and thanks for listening.